What's up, YouTube? I got another episode of Knife Safari for you today. This is the series where I take a trip to the Texas State Surplus Store in Austin and I purchase some knives that were surrendered to TSA at airports around Texas. They're in bins there and marked at various different prices. I dig through all the bins and find the ones that interest me, buy those, and then I show them to you before I do anything else with them. Um, if you're ever in the area and you're going to take a trip to the Texas State Surplus Store, I recommend that you wear some cut resistant gloves because the knives are in bins and they are sometimes open or sometimes damaged and not safe to be digging around in there with bare hands, although I see people do it all the time. They're also dirty, so all of these knives have been cleaned up a bit before I put them on camera here for you. I wipe them down with 90% alcohol. So let me show you what I've got, and we'll go through this batch. I'll tell you what I paid for these and what I think they're worth, or what I think is interesting about them. We'll start over here. This is a Kershaw Link. This is an updated version of the Link. The original Link was in 420 HC steel. This is now in 20 CV. And this is an in-house design for Kershaw. Kershaw uses a lot of different designers for their various models, but this is an in-house design. And they've also added some contour to the handles that wasn't there in the original version of the Link. CPM 20 CV is a powder metallurgy steel. It's made by Crucible Industries in the United States. The knife itself is also made in the United States. So premium materials. This is an assisted opening knife with Kershaw's Speed Safe function, which came from Ken Onion. And I think I paid about 40 bucks for this. And they are currently on sale for $100, but that's a sale price. They usually go for a bit more than that, new. Got some additional Kershaws here. Got this one in kind of a violet color. This is Kershaw Japan. Kershaw's parent company is Kai. And most of them these days are made in China. They do make some in the US. This particular one was made in Japan. It's a lockback, kind of a rubberized material. Not sure what blade steel that is, but it's probably something like AUS 8. Model 3000. Another Kershaw. This model is the Indian Ford, and this is made in China. It's got a stainless steel handle with carbon fiber inlays. Oh, this one was $8, and so is this one. This looks a lot like the older Kershaw Link, but it isn't. This is assisted opening. It's got a draw point, almost a sheep's foot point on it. This is the model 1812, and it is Kershaw USA. The rest of these are, well, yeah, I think that's the rest. I think that's all the Kershaws. Quite a few Kershaws and CRKTs in this week's haul. This is an interesting CRKT knife. This model is called the Offbeat 2, and it's basically a lockback, except that instead of depressing a bar here in order to lift this, you just lift it here, and it shows you really how the lock mechanism works. You can see what's usually kind of hidden in the internal parts of a knife, how that hammer holds the tang of the blade and locks it in place. Got another large CRKT up here. This one's a flipper. This is the rasp. And it's got a recurve and sheep's foot profile to the blade, which is an unusual combination. Let's see if I can... Oh, it only has a thumb stud on one side, but it is reversible, I think. The pocket clip is not reversible, so maybe the thumb stud is not either. But it's a flipper. Pretty good sized blade on that. It's over 3.5 inches. Got a couple of knives made here in Texas. These are Moore Maker, Moore, and they're made in Matador, Texas. These are made from carbon steel, so they do develop a patina. Very similar to a case sod buster, this particular one. This was $20. And then I got another one here. It's a slip joint. Got one lock back that's a sod buster sort of profile. And then I got one that's a slip joint with two blades, bone handles. It's got Matador engraved in the bolster in Texas, and then Moore Maker. A star on this side, Lone Star, for the Lone Star State. This is also carbon steel. It's got a spay blade, large spay blade, and a clip point blade that is broken, but I'm going to reprofile it, and I'm going to bring it down with a real acute curved clip point and give it an edge again, give it a point. And I'll be giving this knife, I plan to give this knife to a friend of mine who is from Texas but doesn't live in Texas anymore. And I'm going to see him later this summer, so it'll be a gift. So yeah, both of those Moore Makers, those are $20 each. The CRKT knives, most of them are $15 each. These two were $15 each, this one and this one. This was only $8 for this particular one. This is the Edgy. And this has a sort of an interesting gimmick. It's a slip joint knife, technically. It doesn't lock. But inside the liner, there's a little diamond encrusted or diamond impregnated strip of metal that's set in there at an angle that resharpens the blade when you close it. Now, that piece is laid in there, you know, across the length of the handle like that. And so the knife is going to contact it back here first, and then at the tip last. So it's going to get more wear here, which we're actually starting to see. See? It's definitely a gimmick. I think it, would make more sense in most cases to sharpen a knife with a sharpener rather than to try to build a sharpener into the closing mechanism of the knife, but it's an interesting idea. And that's one of the things that's fun about CRKT. They try out a lot of different things, and they've got a lot of knives that are just unusual. They've got features that are a little different than what you see on typical knives from competitors. Here's another CRKT that's an unusual design. This is a multi-tool. It's not a pliers-based multi-tool. It's a wrench-based multi-tool. It has this little adjustable wrench at one end. Not very heavy duty, but could work for some applications. It's got a glass breaker. It's got a tanto point knife with a single large serration that you could use as a strap cutter. It's a liner lock. It's got a bottle opener, and it's got a bit holder in the end here and a couple of bits on board. So it's got a reversible Phillips and flathead bit that you can put into there. So fairly useful little tool. $15 is what I paid for it. I think I paid about $30 for this guy. This is a Civivi Cogent. It's a button lock knife. Yeah, 14C28N is the blade steel. These go new for around $70, so I got it for about half price. This particular one is Jade G10 or Natural G10. This is the color of G10 plastic when you don't add any other color to it. And it's clip point profile, high flat grind. Should be a pretty efficient cutter. It has both a flipper, or you can deploy it just by depressing the button using some wrist. Okay. Also from CRKT, we've got this model, which is the Razel. It's got like a chisel tip on it. They've taken the tanto concept to an extreme. Could be useful for some scraping tasks. It's assisted opening. It's got aluminum handles. And one nice detail about this is it does have a crowned spine. So this is nicely rounded over on top here. Liner lock. This was $8 is what this was. It does have a broken pocket clip though. Oh, and I suppose you might be able to, well, it's probably not acute enough to use as a glass breaker. All right, but it does have that protrusion there. Last of the CRKTs on the table today, we've got this one from Ken Onion, legendary knife designer. This is the Eros SS, SS for stainless steel. This has got a stainless steel handle. There was another version of this that's been discontinued that had titanium handles. It's one of the more expensive knives in CRKT's line at the time. Really nice acute tip. The stainless steel model is not super expensive. The titanium one was more. The stainless steel one I think was around $50 when it was new. I got this one for $15. It's in pretty good condition. It's on ball bearings. It's got an interesting design for the pocket clip. Got a baby Elementum from Civivi. This is 14C28N steel as well, with copper handles that have been hand rubbed, blackened, and hand rubbed finish on the blade as well, horizontal finish. And it does flip pretty well for a tiny little knife. It's frame lock instead of a liner lock like the regular Elementum, and it has a hole here so you can attach it to a keyring, but it does not have a pocket clip. And then I got two different Civivi Baby Banters. I think that's called the mini Elementum, not the baby Elementum, but this is knife. It's called the Baby Banter. I've got one in black. Let's see if I can open that properly. Right. The Banter is a knife that has a few different sizes available. This is in Nitro V steel, which is kind of similar to 14C28N. Nice little fifth pocket knife, thumb studs, ball bearings, drop point profile. It's got a 50/50 finger choil. Good competitor to something like the Dragonfly from Spyderco. And I got another one. That's the same thing except different colorway. This is white G10 and a red coated blade, which I believe is also Nitro V. Yep. And matching red pivot screw, red screws in the body, and even for the pocket clip. These Banter models were $30 each. The Mini Elementum was $20. And that's the assortment that I picked up this time around. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite? Don't forget to like and subscribe to get more knife content in your YouTube feed on a regular basis. I will be producing more of these videos, not just the Knife Safari, but other knife related videos as well. Thanks very much.